Do I need to say anything else?
Nope.
I think I made my point pretty clear. It's time to start Kevin Knox. I also want to say I apologized yesterday. I'm going to apologize again today on this video because yesterday, now that everybody was able to make it to the live, I want to say I do apologize for my constant defending of a certain point guard on this team that, for whatever reason, just is not, he's not figuring it out. And that is none other than Elfrid Payton himself. Elfrid Payton, although I still believe we are really harsh on the dude, and I think he is a point guard in this league that can play, I just don't think it's for the New York Knicks. Elfrid Payton in the New York Knicks uniform just ain't it. It's just not it. And I've been defending him. I'm still hoping for the best. I'm still hoping that he does turn it around. But man, is it frustrating to watch. Now, in the same breath, I got to give him some credit because he's one of the only people out there trying to get his buckets when we are struggling to score the damn basketball. But in that same breath, when he goes and does that, the ball stops moving, and then our offense looks terrible when he is missing some of those close point-blank range shots. And it's not like it's just one-off game. It happens several games over and over and over again. So at this point, I don't know how to defend it. I know that they're going to continue to start him. Why? That's a question for the front office. You know, realistically, I know it's probably hard to hear, but some people are going to look at this team and they're still going to say that Elfrid Payton's probably our best starting point guard, but it's hard to defend him. And on top of all that, Kevin Durant. Golly, the dude was surgical. Kevin Durant was out there killing us. You can hate on Kevin Durant all you want. I get it. I understand. Not a fan of that team either. But man, Kevin Durant, the way he was out there cooking us was. And now they got James Harden on the way. You know, I know we didn't get to talk about that over here. I did talk about it on my new channel, CK Hoops. Go check it out. Subscribe if you haven't already. Go subscribe to the new channel, CK Hoops. We're almost at 200 subs over on that channel. Go show some love to the new channel, CK Hoops. Right when I was talking about everything that happened yesterday, he decides to get traded a few hours after my video goes up. Crazy world we live in. Let's get into yesterday's game. Run the intro. What's going on, CK Cruise Boy, CK2K here. Welcome back to another video. And yes, we are here to talk about last night's rather rough game. Very, very rough game. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell. Do not forget to like this video. Once again, if you guys missed yesterday's video, I told you that I have a new channel called CK Hoops, and it's a channel for when I talk about anything basketball. The first video on the channel right now is about the James Harden move that happened yesterday. That is where I'm going to be talking about anything outside of the Knicks and maybe some Knicks stuff over there. But this is the channel for the New York Knicks. That is the channel for the NBA. So go over there, subscribe to CK Hoops so you can get more content. And it's more CK, you know what I'm saying? You get to hang out over there, over here, more content. Brooklyn Nets and the New York Knicks. I said it yesterday. There's 6 games every season that I really hope that we win. We are 0-1 so far. Those 6 games are the 4 against Brooklyn and the 2 against the Dallas Mavericks. And so far we are 0-1 in the games that I would like to see us win. And it's unfortunate. And it's crazy because it's coming at the heels of of the Nets making a big trade that got rid of the majority of their team. It was Kevin Durant, DeAndre Jordan, Joe Harris, and others that are on this team. Like, I didn't even know who the center, their rookie center was, Perry. Normally, I know these deep players on these teams. I had no idea who this Perry was. Thankfully, CP of Knicks Fan TV came through my stream yesterday and educated me on who he was. He went to Mississippi State. That's all I knew about him. This is an opportunity for us to take advantage. We got to win the games that we should be winning. I understand Kevin Durant's on the other side, but we should have still been able to survive that storm. But when we're out there not showing a good defensive effort, you know, not scoring the ball at a high clip and continuing to play selfish basketball where we don't move the ball, we're not going to win games. It's just as simple as that. So when you ask me for my exact takeaways from yesterday's game, that was it. The lack of defensive effort, the lack of a good fluid offense, and no ball movement. All that came halfway through the fourth quarter when the game was pretty much over. We did bring it to a 5-point game, but it was still over at that time. And why does it take that long for that to happen? I have my reasons of why I believe we have these kind of, sluggish starts and sluggish pacing throughout the game, and I'm gonna get to that in a second. But first, we gotta talk about the negatives, and one of the biggest glaring negative was how terrible we were on defense against a team that should not have been so much better than us. The Kevin Durant issue, that's one thing. I understand Kevin Durant's gonna get his. You should go in there expecting 30 to 35 points from Kevin Durant. You should be going in there expecting that. But the others, that's inexcusable. Joe Harris is a shooter. I get that. But when knowing that he's probably the number 2 option for this team that is missing players, we should be prepared for that. And we definitely weren't. And another thing is Bruce Brown. I had to look it up. He is 6'5", 6'6". Tell me why he's out there out rebounding 2 Knicks at a time. There were several times that he's out there out rebounding guys like Mitchell Robinson, Julius Randle, RJ. He's out rebounding all of our players to the point where he had 10, 11 rebounds for the game. It's just not a good look. The effort was weak. You can probably point it to the whole minutes thing, but at the same time, we can complain, whine, rave all we want about the Tom Thibodeau playing these players 20 minutes. I gotta tell you, 2 things are not gonna change. 1, taxes, and 2, Tom Thibodeau is gonna be playing these high minutes for these players. He's never done a 10-man rotation. I've said it many times. I'm a fan of the 10-man rotation, especially for a team like us that's rebuilding. We're not a P-word team. We're just not that. So play a 10-man rotation and compete that way. I'm a fan of that, but that's just not who Tom Thibodeau is, and we have to accept that. But also, with that being said, we have to talk about the number 2 thing that bothers me about what's going on right now is our rotations. We got to learn to adapt. I don't understand why Elfrid Payton keeps getting sent out on the court when he's not doing anything for us. He's not doing anything for us. And then every time we start to go on some sort of a run, here he comes back, checking back into the game, and then the run's over. It happens several times. And I'm just talking about last night's game. I'm not going to talk about it as a whole. I know you guys have your feelings about Elfrid Payton, but at least in last night's game, it didn't make sense. There's so many times we sent him out right when we're in the midst of making some sort of run, and we slowed it down. Maybe it's by design. Maybe we are trying to lose games. Maybe if that's the case, then I think that's beautiful substituting by Tom Thibodeau. But I don't believe that was the case. The rotations they don't make sense. I mean, Austin Rivers, who I was putting some of the blame on because since he's been in the starting lineup, he has not been the same player that we remembered when he first came and started playing for the New York Knicks. But then yet, in that 4th quarter, the minute it's him and RJ Barrett at the top playing the guard position, all of a sudden, Austin Rivers is making his shots and playing a lot better. Same goes to RJ Barrett. I'm just saying, I don't understand how, as fans, we can see these things, but the coaches are seeing one thing and they decide to just keep going with another. I don't know. Maybe it's, I don't know. I don't know. Which leads me to another point of Obi Toppin. But let me finish this rotation conversation real quick, because this is the thing that irritates me the most. And I went in on this last night on my live stream. If we were a team like the Brooklyn Nets that are competing for the playoffs, and this is not a good example because they don't have their full entire team yet right now, but if we were that kind of team where we were competing for the P word, I get it. I'm way more understanding for that short rotation, high minute run team, because let's be real, you're playing your best guys, you're keeping your best guys on the court to make sure that you can solidify wins. But when we're a team that is built the way that we're built right now, where we don't have that, you need a little bit of something from everybody. You gotta play at a deeper rotation. I know I'm talking to a wall because, like I said, Tom Thibodeau is not gonna change his ways. That's just how he is. Every Bulls fan that I know, every Bulls YouTuber I've ever watched, everybody, they all told us to be prepared for these rotations, and we're seeing it firsthand right now. But I also believe that we can be changing these things up. If one player is not working and he's continuing to not work, we gotta change the rotation. We are the personified definition of insanity at this point. We keep trying these rotations with him at the point guard, and it's just not working. We saw RJ Barrett look like 2 completely different players in this game. First half, RJ Barrett was very tentative, out of the rotation, spot up shooting, and it was really irritating to watch. I understand there's people, and there was a select crowd that was saying that, well, that's up to RJ to go make his own shots. But at the same time, if you're playing basketball the way that we were playing basketball to start the season, it feels like RJ Barrett and Mitchell Robinson were the only 2 players that were continuing that style of basketball, moving the basketball. Elfrid Payton all of a sudden said, no, I'm not doing that anymore. I'm going to hold the ball. If I have nothing, let me give it to Julius Randle, hope that he can figure something out. Reverting to some stuff that we saw in the past. Julius Randle, too, was going away from what he was doing so well, and that was moving the ball. Earlier on in the season, when he was getting his 6, 7 assists, I'm not saying I expected that from him every night, but I do expect for him to be that ball mover that he has been for the beginning part of the season. It's the reason why we enjoy Julius Randle this season compared to how we had him last season. I don't care about the 30 points. We need the 30 points, that's right, but if you're scoring 30 points in an empty effort, I can give a damn about what your point stat looks like. I need to see us playing the right way by moving the basketball. And we were not doing that last night. And that's the problem with RJ Barrett. RJ Barrett was going back to doing what we were doing and what was winning us games, but you cannot be the only person out there trying to move the ball, which is why we saw him flip the script in the second half and be like, all right, give me the ball and let me do my thing. There was times he waved off Elfrid Payton. He waved off Julius Randle. He wouldn't even look in their direction, and he's going out there and he's looking for his own. And if he couldn't get his own, he was getting assists by making the move, making the decision for himself. And that's the RJ Barrett I want to see more of. Because look, we don't have that kind of lineup where we are obviously moving the ball at a consistent rate every time we go down the court. Another thing that irritates the hell out of me is in fast breaks, we don't capitalize on them. And I don't understand that. We have a athletic young team that consists of RJ Barrett and either whether it's Alec Burks, whether it's Austin, somebody that can run the floor. Kevin Knox is somebody who always runs the floor. Obi Toppin is somebody who we know who coming into this draft is somebody who's really good at running the floor. Mitchell Robinson gets down there and does, if not, he does a good job at trailing. We don't take advantage of these fast breaks. Elfrid Payton gets the ball. We have a fast break and he's going 2-speed up the court. If it's Julius Randle, he gets the ball. He's going 2-speed up the court, waiting for a half court offense, waiting for his defender to set up so that he can then post him up and then give him a fadeaway. It's really frustrating to watch. And it's more frustrating to watch because we saw one style of basketball to begin the season, and now all of a sudden these last 4 games, we completely flipped into whatever style of basketball that you want to call this that we're looking at right now. And look, I understand the reality. The Knicks were never always a good team. We were just overachieving, and I get that. But I'd much rather us overachieve, compete, and play the right way and lose these games rather than play ugly basketball and lose that way to get, especially the teams that we should be competing against. Charlotte, Oklahoma City, and definitely Brooklyn last night. Now, I'm not saying Brooklyn is a bad team. I understand Knicks fans want to go on. This is not that video right now. I'm more pissed off about what's going on with the Knicks than anything else. This team should have been able to compete with this Brooklyn Nets team right now because last night they only had 3 starters on that team and a few rotational players that were actually playing last night compared to a bunch of other guys that probably won't be hitting the court once their roster is healthy. You know what I mean? You know, I'm really pleased with Tom Thibodeau because he's still calling the timeouts, especially towards the end of the game where we kept calling timeouts when there's like 30 seconds left in the game, 50 seconds in the game. Those are teachable moments, and that's what this team needs to do. But at the same time, we need the team to also execute in those moments. I need Tom Thibodeau to go back to holding some of these players accountable. He did that in the 4th quarter. You saw Elfrid Payton get subbed out the minute he went on that streak where we were looking like we were making a nice little comeback, but then he decided to take a terrible mid-range shot and then proceed to almost turn over the ball. Tom Thibodeau cut that out quick and got him out, held him accountable. That's what I want him to continue to do more frequently, which leads me to my next and last point, the minutes and who are getting the minutes. I guess it's kind of the same point rotation-wise. With Obi Toppin only playing 57 seconds, we finally got an answer to that where Tom Thibodeau was trying to ease him into the offense and didn't feel like the matchups made sense. What does that mean? Obi Toppin is a rookie. Why are we using him like, we got to put him on the shelf? This isn't Obi Toppin's game. The hell does that mean? No, you put Obi Toppin out there and let him be an offense. That to me is one of the weakest and wackest excuses I've ever heard and ever seen, especially when it comes to a rookie. Our first round pick rookie. I don't understand that at all. Now, where I do agree with him is he said that he still needs to be patient with Obi Toppin's return because of the type of injury. That I will agree with. Then just don't play him at all. Like, what's the point of that? Like, it's one thing if you played him 2 to 5 minutes, then I get it. Like, you're easing him in that way. But for 57 seconds, why even activate him? Just keep him. If you don't think he's ready to play, then don't put him in the rotation. All I really ask for is for the team to go back to what we at least started. Even if it results in losses still, at least I know we'll get a better brand of basketball. Go back to moving the ball, trusting your teammates. That's the biggest thing that Tom Thibodeau kept preaching from the minute he came to the team, to training camp, and to in between games. Trust your teammates. And I feel like we're not there anymore. We're not trusting our teammates. Also, like I said, holding the players accountable. If they're not giving us anything and they continue to not give us anything, get them out. With RJ Barrett, I know a lot of you guys are going to say bench RJ Barrett, but at the very least, even if his shot's not going in, he's doing everything else. Everything else. He was still very active on the defensive end, which is why he was still getting a lot of minutes. And on top of that, he is rebounding at a good clip and moving the ball. He's doing other things. I can't say the same thing for Elfrid Payton, at least in last night's game. I cannot say that. The only time that there was any excitement and any kind of okay, that's good basketball was literally the last 5 minutes of that 4th quarter. There were some spurts at the beginning of the 4th quarter, but like I said, Elfrid Payton rained on that parade real quick. But now here we are 5-7, and we're slowly on a decline back down to the lower echelon of the NBA. I think we're 10th now in the Eastern Conference, back to where we were projected to be. I talked about RJ Barrett having a good game, and I'm so frustrated with the negatives. I didn't even talk about the positives, and that's Kevin Knox having another solid shooting night and playing really well for us, doing a lot of things right. Even to getting to the hoop, like a lot of you guys are saying that you should stop the dribbling altogether, and I was saying I would still like to see him do some dribbling, and we saw it last night. He had two solid finishes around the rim that just made you think, like, you see, if he can get it together, this guy can be a complete player. But again, just like any other player, and like I keep preaching, especially with a guy like RJ Barrett, and I've been saying with Kevin Knox for all these years, patience, development takes time, and we're seeing the overall process with Kevin Knox playing really well basketball, really good basketball, excuse me. And also, shout out to Emmanuel quickly too, who's had some bad games looking like a rookie leading up to tonight, where he had his season high off of career high coming off the bench with 19 points, playing really good basketball. He was very useful for us off the bench, and I said it, like, I really like that role for Emmanuel quickly. I mean, right now I would start him because I just don't like Elfrid Payton in our starting unit. I really don't, until he's going back to moving the ball and being the floor general that I know he can be. Until he goes back to that role, I don't like him in the starting unit. So I would be fine with Emmanuel quickly starting, but long term, I love quickly being that Lou Williams six-man player for us, that spark off the bench, playing 35, 33 minutes off the bench. I don't think he necessarily has to be that starting point guard for him to be effective. That's just how I feel about it. But again, also too, I just want to shout out to all the Let's Get It's I saw in yesterday's video. For those who made it this far, or even making it this far, I put it in the video. I just opened up a little bit about my other channels, CKTV and CK Hoops, and what my goal is to do here on YouTube and with my platform, and just entertaining. I love to entertain, I love to make videos, I love to make content, so I made that CK Hoops channel to talk to a wider NBA fan base, but still talk to my my originals that are here on CK2K. Talk about other teams and stuff like that. That's why I made that channel, so I can keep this the main thing. And then CKTV is my channel where I can do my comedy, my gaming, my sketches, like those kind of stuff. CKTV is the channel for all of that. So I appreciate all this, the Let's Get It, because I knew you made it to the end of the video. Yeah, and for this one too, if you make it this far on the video, hit me with the hashtag I sub to CK Hoops, and make sure you sub to CK Hoops before you put that hashtag. Don't put that hashtag and don't subscribe. I always appreciate all you guys' support. And guys, like I said, don't take today's video as me giving up on the team or me being negative. It's just a frustration with what we're seeing, because we saw what could be with this Knicks team. Even if, like I say all the time, I'm not expecting us to be a team that's out there top 5 competing for playoffs, even though there's games that we lost that we could definitely have won for sure, but I don't see this team as that. At the same time, I just don't like when we're playing bad basketball and we're making mental mistakes or not putting any effort in situations like last night. That is what frustrates me more than anything else. So it's really riled me up. But like I said, there's a lot of positives with this team. There's a lot to look forward to. So don't take this as a negative. Still take this as optimism, and just know that we're a young team. It's just, I just wish that we could connect all the dots together for once. We did that at the beginning. I wish we could continue that on. Anyways, I've talked long enough. I appreciate all you guys' support. It's me, your boy CK. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell. Don't forget to like this video. Go check out the other channel, CK Hoops. Link in the description. You know what it is. Catch you guys in the next one. Let's get it. Shout out to all my CK crew members. I didn't forget y'all. All love. Like I said, a lot of perks coming from my CK crew members. So join if you haven't joined in already. I'm out of here. Till the next one. Peace.
Feeling like I won the lotto. Always taking trips with a new chick, asking where the time goes. And I wonder if this is all I'll know.